Welcome to Gippers News Briefing. Tensions in the Middle East have reached a boiling point, underscoring the volatile nature of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Israel has launched airstrikes near Beirut, marking a significant escalation and raising fears of a wider conflict. Israel's recent airstrikes near Beirut and the detention of an Iranian operative in Syria signal a more assertive stance against regional threats. Israel's operations in Syria aim to counter Iranian influence and prevent weapon transfers to Hezbollah. Israel's actions have prompted condemnation from Iran and its allies, heightening fears of a wider conflict. Israel's decision to sever ties with UNRWA has sparked widespread condemnation and concerns about humanitarian consequences. Israel's move against UNRWA aims to weaken Palestinian claims but risks exacerbating regional instability. The international community remains divided on addressing the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, with various powers pursuing different strategies. Iran's response to Israel's actions combines military posturing with diplomatic efforts to rally international support. The arrest of an Iranian-American citizen by Iran adds another layer of complexity to U.S.-Iran relations. Experts warn that the risk of miscalculation in the Middle East remains high, with several potential flashpoints for conflict. American experts analyze Iran's potential response options, emphasizing the need for calibrated actions to avoid full-scale war. Section 2. A call for unity. The U.S. Secretary of Defense speaks out. Against the backdrop of escalating tensions in the Middle East and Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd J. Austin III delivered a powerful speech at the Reagan National Defense Forum, emphasizing the importance of American leadership and the need for unity among allies and partners. Secretary Austin acknowledged the complex challenges facing the United States in the current geopolitical environment, with threats emanating from multiple fronts, including revisionist powers like Russia and China, as well as regional actors like Iran and North Korea. He stressed that the United States cannot afford to confront these challenges alone but must work together with like-minded nations to uphold a rules-based international order. In a clear reference to the situation in Ukraine, Secretary Austin underscored the importance of standing up for democratic values and the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity. He warned that the price of principle pales in comparison to the cost of capitulation, arguing that allowing aggression to go unchecked emboldens adversaries and undermines global stability. Secretary Austin's speech served as a rallying cry for American allies and partners, urging them to stand shoulder to shoulder with the United States in confronting the shared challenges of the 21st century. He stressed that the United States remains committed to its alliances and partnerships, recognizing that collective action is essential to deterring aggression, promoting peace, and safeguarding a rules-based international order. Section 3. Navigating a Minefield, American Interests and Regional Alliances. The escalating tensions in the Middle East present a complex and delicate challenge for American foreign policy, requiring a careful balancing act between supporting its long-standing ally Israel and managing its relationships with key Arab partners who have grown increasingly wary of Israeli actions. The Biden administration has sought to reassure Israel of its unwavering commitment to its security, while also urging restraint and a de-escalation of tensions. The United States recognizes Israel's right to defend itself, but has also expressed concern over actions that could further inflame the situation and jeopardize prospects for a negotiated solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. At the same time, the United States is working to manage its relationships with Arab partners, many of whom harbor deep reservations about Israel's policies toward the Palestinians. These countries have condemned Israel's strikes near Beirut and its decision to sever ties with UNRWA, warning of the potential for further instability in the region. The United States finds itself walking a tightrope, seeking to maintain its close ties with both Israel and key Arab partners while navigating the complex web of regional rivalries and competing interests. The challenge for American diplomacy is to find a way to de-escalate tensions, prevent a wider conflict, and create an environment conducive to meaningful dialogue and a lasting peace settlement. Arab states resist U.S. pressure. The recent escalation of violence in the Middle East has placed Arab states in a difficult position, caught between their support for the Palestinian cause and ties with Israel. The U.S. has been pressuring its Arab allies to condemn Hezbollah and support Israel's right to self-defense. However, many Arab governments fear backlash from their populations and jeopardizing relations with Iran. Arab states have issued statements expressing concern over the violence and calling for restraint. They have stopped short of condemning Hezbollah or endorsing Israel's actions. Some countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE have been more critical of Hezbollah, reflecting concerns about Iran's influence. They emphasize the need for a political solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Section 2. Global Ripple Effects, from North Korea to India. The escalating tensions in the Middle East have reverberated far beyond the region, highlighting the interconnected nature of global affairs. From North Korea's military maneuvers to India's crackdown on Sikh activists, the crisis has exposed existing fault lines. North Korea has seized upon the international community's preoccupation with the Middle East to advance its own agenda. Pyongyang's missile tests have raised tensions on the Korean peninsula, challenging diplomatic efforts. Meanwhile, India has faced criticism for its handling of domestic unrest in the wake of the Middle East crisis. The Indian government has launched a crackdown on Sikh activists, raising concerns about human rights abuses. The situation underscores the interconnected nature of global security and the need for comprehensive policy responses. Section 1. The Perilous Path Ahead, Navigating Uncertainty and Risk. The Middle East stands at a crossroads, facing a confluence of challenges that threaten to plunge the region into a new era of conflict and instability. The recent escalation of violence, marked by Israeli strikes, Iranian threats, and a diplomatic stalemate, has exposed the fragility of the existing order and the ever-present potential for miscalculation and unintended consequences. The path ahead is fraught with peril, demanding careful navigation and a clear-eyed assessment of the risks involved. The key players, Israel, Iran, the United States, and regional actors, must weigh their options carefully, recognizing that the pursuit of narrow self-interest could have disastrous consequences for all. The greatest danger lies in the potential for miscalculation or accident. In a region already on edge, a single incident, a cross-border raid gone wrong, a terrorist attack attributed to Hezbollah, or a misinterpretation of intentions could quickly escalate into a wider conflagration. The international community has a critical role to play in preventing such a scenario. Diplomacy, backed by a credible threat of consequences for those who choose violence, must be the order of the day. The alternative, a region consumed by conflict with unpredictable and potentially catastrophic consequences for global security and prosperity, is too dangerous to contemplate. Section 2. The Urgency of Diplomacy, a Call for Dialogue and De-escalation. The current crisis underscores the urgent need for renewed diplomatic efforts in the Middle East. Military action may provide temporary security, but it cannot solve deep-seated grievances. Dialogue remains the only viable path to sustainable peace. The international community must facilitate communication and encourage confidence-building measures. De-escalation must be the immediate priority. All sides must refrain from actions that could inflame the situation. Section 3. The Power of Partnerships, Strengthening Alliances in a Fractured World. In an era of unprecedented global challenges, the importance of strong and reliable alliances has never been greater. The crisis in the Middle East serves as a stark reminder that no nation can confront these challenges alone. The United States faces a more contested and uncertain geopolitical landscape. Revisionist powers like Russia and China are challenging the existing international order. Transnational threats require collective action to address effectively. The United States must prioritize strengthening its alliances and partnerships. This includes reaffirming its commitment to NATO and strengthening its partnerships with key regional actors like Japan, South Korea, and Australia. The United States cannot be expected to shoulder the burden of global leadership alone. Europe can play a more active role in mediating regional conflicts and promoting stability. Don't miss the bus and subscribe.